you have launched loyalty programs, understood Tesco, you have launched it for Landmark, you have done it for BlackBerry. So let's try to create a playbook, maybe a simple 5-step framework to approach how to design a loyalty program and run it.
So first one is about what I call as objectives or understanding the business context and the objectives.
If you see Tata Neo had to sponsor IPL. Whatever we say, I'd say it's one of the biggest group loyalty program.
If you're a group program, you're better off spending the money on building your individual brands and calling it and using the group program to understand the customers across the group.
Flipkart Black versus Amazon Prime. See, when this BBD sale came in, I think so they started talking about this Flipkart Black program. Would love to know your take on what's the difference and was it a good program, not a good program?
They're very clear they were looking at it as a business program and not as a loyalty program. Whereas when you put a lot of terms and conditions, like you said, maybe the CFO designed it, that to me at its heart is the difference.
Indigo for the longest time used to say that we don't need a loyalty program, we don't need to show the red carpet. Our loyalty is our great experience, great value, on-time delivery. Last year, they launched a loyalty program. The mistakes brands make while thinking through loyalty program.
The first is they look at loyalty program is
Today, brands struggle to drive loyalty with their customers, and one of the easy ways they do is to think about launching a loyalty program. But does a loyalty program really drive loyalty? That is the topic for this podcast, where we will have our guest Mahadevv and Iyerr come on the Dilse Omni talks and share his story of building loyalty programs and uncover this puzzle. I have known Maha for almost 2 years plus and learned a lot from him in the world of marketing analytics, loyalty program designs and all. He started his career in Tata Motors and City as a business development manager, and then moved into Tesco, GCC in India, working in Bangalore, and then moved to Europe, where he learned the fundamentals of how a great customer loyalty program is managed and analytics is done around it. So let's get started into this very Dilse Omni talk with Maha, answering this question: does loyalty program drive loyalty? So welcome to the Dilse Omni podcast, Maha. And one thing I have always admired about you is, your curiosity to learn new things. And last time when we met in Bangalore, you mentioned that passionately about what you're learning about Agentic AI. And 2 days ago when I was reading your post, I also saw that now you're learning golf. So can you tell what's the connection between golf and today's discussion about loyalty?
So first of all, thank you, Saurabh. Very excited about being here. Always interesting talking to you and learning from you. So this golf thing that I written a post is very interesting. I mean, we a bunch of around 4-5 friends caught up around 5-6 months back. All schoolmates from Kolhapur. We were catching up over a beer, and one of them mentioned that he's into golf. And I told him that I used to play golf. I'd not found time any longer for the last 10-12 years. And he mentioned in passing that, oh, you stay in Sarjapur, there is Clover Greens nearby. And, I have an Infinia card, so, I get unlimited free games and unlimited free lessons. So I was like, okay, for almost 6 years I've been having this Infinia card. And I didn't know that there was a benefit. And think of it, I've been a loyalty person. I didn't know that there was a loyalty benefit to Infinia card, right? And ever since then I visited, I made the first visit around 3 months back. And now for the last 3 months, every week I'm taking a golf lesson. I go and play golf games. Now the point, connection with loyalty is that it's all great to have great benefits. Very relevant to my particular profile or someone who's interested in golf. But it's all about eventually execution. So if Infinia had actually communicated that they had golf lessons, I would have valued the card a lot more, right? Now suddenly the card, which was not very valuable for me, I could have replaced it any time, has become very valuable, right? So that's the point. So it's great to design a good loyalty program, but the rubber meets the road when the execution, the communication and the connect that the customer has understood a benefit and is using it is something the brand needs to look at, right?
And sometimes, we always are managing a P&L.
Correct.
So maybe to all fairness, they might be looking at it as a cost. Golf could be a big cost. But at the end, if people use your loyalty benefits, they will drive loyalty.
Absolutely. See, there is this P&L component, but again, it's the question of, and maybe we'll discuss at length, is it a business ROI or a loyalty program ROI? I keep debating this whenever in business and when we talk to clients, right? In this particular thing, they have guardrails. It's not like every day you can go for a golf lesson. You need to book 3-4 days in advance. So they've ensured that maybe you can take only 50 to 60 classes in a year. But that's good enough, right? That itself is a substantial benefit, right? So you have to balance for both. But the point is, what is the point in having a benefit if the customer doesn't know it? And you know, one thing led to another. I was booking through a concierge service of Infinia, and the lady mentioned that, hey, looks like you have more than 1 lakh points.
Wow.
And did you know that you could just buy an iPad by paying 30% in cash? And the next day I went and bought my iPad Pro, right? I used up the points. And so that's what I'm saying. Till that 3 months earlier, if somebody had come with a different card and said it was very replaceable for me, today I would not replace my Infinia card, right? So that's what the program has done for Infinia from me as a customer.
Yeah. So, Maha, you have spent a lot of time with Tesco and then with the Landmark Group. And Landmark Group also had a loyalty program in their home countries called Shukran. So, share your learnings as you went through these journeys. What is the thing it evolved and how was your experience building a loyalty program?
Yeah, interesting. See, when I joined Tesco, Club Card was essentially in their blood, right? So I think around 96, 97 is when Tesco started Club Card. And Terry Leahy, then the legendary CEO of Tesco, was the marketing director. He was the who brought in Club Card. At that time, possibly Tesco had a 15% market share in the grocery retail of UK. He made it 30% a leader. And so Tesco attributes everything it has got largely to Club Card, because that was the first retailer that spent time in really investing in data, understanding customers, and then not just using it in terms of the program, in terms of the offers and incentives they gave to customers, but also using that learning to improve their retail, their offering, everything around it, right? So everything was aligned to Club Card. So in Tesco, it was Club Card was like, how do you put it? It was like the
growth engine.
Yeah, it was a growth engine. It was, everybody believed in it. You could not say one word wrong about Club Card, literally, right? It was established, right? So that was the thing. And also you have to take in context that Tesco was a 30% market share leader in already saturated market, which is 85-90% of UK grocery retail is all organized. So the retail program in Tesco was about ensuring that they ring fence their customers and ensure that they don't lose out, right? You can't grow beyond a market share there, right? So that was a learning. So great faith in the program, top level, absolute commitment to the program. They had seen what it delivered. So when I worked in Tesco, I got a chance to work on Club Card personalization, which was the first time I heard the word personalization, was in 2012-13 when I was in the UK. At that time, so this is a company where there's absolute belief system in Club Card and what it could deliver, right? And everything else started after Club Card. Cut to 2014 when I joined Landmark Group. We were in a totally different business. So it was we wanted to build a group program, largely into fashion and apparel. The customer shopping missions were absolutely different from here. So here it was a lot built on frequency, whereas here it was 3 to 4, 5 visits possibly in a year was what you could expect. We were in a growth market, right? Unlike Tesco, here we were where possibly anywhere from 10-25% of the industry was organized. So it was a growth market. The customer behavior was very different. And just about the time I joined is when Flipkart and Myntra were all growing. So largely discount-led market. So the value of points was, what more can you do beyond the discount that you were already giving type of stuff. We were getting into the digital era. So from a carded program to digital. So there was a lot of excitement. So the way I would look at Landmark Group was, here it was about establishing trust in.
And this was which year you were planning?
It was 2014 is when I joined Landmark Group, right? So they had a program called Lifestyle. They had a Lifestyle Circles program, which is what they used to run. But they wanted to make it a group program. Shukran was actually run in the Middle East. It was also started at the same time when I started Landmark Rewards here. But then we always operated very independently because the Indian context was very different from there, right? So, so Tesco, very established program. Here we had to build credibility about the program, what it could deliver type of stuff. And both in terms of, like I said, the market share, the industry, the level of competition was all very dynamic here, right? So how do you build trust in the program and very
How much time did it take you to launch the program from concept to?
See, from concept to this, we launched the program in around 6 months.
Wow.
Right. So a very interesting stuff happened when I joined Landmark Group. My very first day, my boss was the managing director of Landmark Group India. He asked me as to, so you've joined today, but I want to ask you, does a loyalty program really help? Should we have a loyalty program in the first place? And here I was, thinking that I'm going to build something, and obviously I was shocked and taken aback. And I asked him, why do you say that? He said, at that period in time, Zara was one of the most successful apparel retailers. He said, Zara is a industry leader, literally. They don't have a loyalty program. He said, Walmart, which is the largest retailer in the world, doesn't have a loyalty program, right? And he also quoted a few examples of retailers who had loyalty programs and are not doing very well. And he said, so do we need a loyalty program? So obviously I was stunned into silence at that particular point. I blabbered my way through and came out. And then, I reflected on that. And that reflection is what has helped me through my career. So my learning about this is that, so I'll give you an analogy of this, right? So everybody thinks loyalty program can create a huge difference, right? The way I look at it is loyalty and loyalty program are very different, right? So a loyalty is built on a combination of what is your product value proposition, what is the type of shopping, experience, how easy it is to, buy that particular thing, and then the consumption experience, right? So think of it like a seed. If you have a good seed in a fertile ground and you have a good farmer who's taking care of it, that is your core loyalty. Your loyalty and how that thing will flower depends on that, right?
Yeah.
A loyalty program is like a fertilizer, right? So if you have great product proposition, great shopping experience and consumption experience, a loyalty program can amplify the benefits of it.
Yeah.
But if the product proposition at its core is very weak, right, if it's a bad seed, then the loyalty program, whatever value you give, cannot work.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll tell another example. As you were telling, I was also reflecting upon. So Indigo for the longest time used to say that we don't need a loyalty program. We don't need to show the red carpet. Our loyalty is our great experience, great value, on-time delivery, all of those things. And they are a market leader, almost 60% plus market share they have. Cut to last year, they launched a loyalty program. And if you think about why did they launch a loyalty program, when the industry consolidated with Iyerr India, and Iyerr India was inheriting a very strong loyalty program, Club Vistara, which now became Club Maharaja. And what also happens, in this is that a lot of airline spend is happening with the people who are in jobs and they are funded their travel through the companies.
Correct.
So if everything is same, they would take a flight which has a loyalty program, and they saw that shift going. And this is a very loyal traveler, and we have seen that happening in US with Delta and Continental and American Airlines. That miles accumulation,
Correct.
and it had to launch a program.
Correct.
I am not a fan of Indigo Blue because it's a very confusing value proposition. So I think so. It is also the timing. When do you need to do, and what are the competitive forces which is letting you drive it?
See, so it's about, you're right, competitive forces, right? So like Indigo had to do it because Club Maharaja came into place, right?
Yeah.
Zara for the longest time, right, didn't need to do it because its core proposition was so strong,
good, yeah.
and nobody was offering fast fashion where you could walk into a store and get a new style every 15 days.
Yeah.
So their target customer was very clear and they would go there, right?
Yeah.
Walmart didn't need to do it because it was everyday low pricing for the longest period till Amazon came and disrupted it. Right?
Yeah.
And now Amazon Prime, and which I'm a fan of, is getting disrupted because its core value proposition is getting challenged with quick commerce, right?
Yeah. So this takes me to another of your post which you wrote about Flipkart Black versus Amazon Prime. And see, when this big BBDA sale came in, I think so they started talking about this Flipkart Black program. And Black program, me coming 10-15 years with Amex, Black has a very high, big identity. And when I went to that page, tried to understand, I couldn't understand what they are trying to sell for, I think so for $900. I did it 3 times. But would love to know your take on what's the difference and where do you see, was it a good program, not a good program?
So, see, I've been a big fan of Amazon Prime, right? Because of the way it got conceptualized. Right? I mean, been with Amazon Prime for almost 7 years, and I didn't want to buy Amazon Prime because of, because I wanted to buy. I bought it because Prime Video was there. They were launching this program called Inside Edge, which was on IPL. Me and my wife are cricket fanatics, and she forced me saying, "Ek movie dekhne ke jaisa hai, just why don't you buy this?" And once we bought it for seeing that particular series, they kept passing the message that all deliveries are free, and then we ordered for 50 rupees and 100 rupees to be delivered free. Before I knew, daily, possibly in a week, possibly 3 to 4, 5 deliveries would come. I would have easily spent almost 70 to 80,000 on Amazon every year, minimum, right? And got, in terms of savings, in terms of delivery, would have been 60, 70,000 in the last 7, 8 years, right? So a few things were beginning to change, right? The first thing is, till 1.5 years back, Amazon was the only consideration said. Never visited Flipkart. I had 1 or 2 poor experiences, and then this was great, right? So if it was not then Amazon is where I would look at. It never gave me that opportunity. Then something happened. 1.5 years back, quick commerce started happening. And this is where I said Amazon Prime was a great program because the seed, the soil, and the mali or the farmer were all great, right? Their core proposition was great. On top of that, they said, I'll give you free delivery, right? One of their core proposition was convenience, which is I will deliver to you in 1 day or 2 days, fast delivery every time on time, right? Quick commerce came and challenged that. So Amazon Prime, which was till then a great amplifier of Amazon, the business, is no longer that great because one of the levers of Amazon itself is under question today.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, Amazon started introducing a few things, which is Amazon Video Pay, you have an ads-free thing, then you pay 700 more, right? So somewhere I thought Amazon was drifting, right? And then Flipkart Black happened, and I want to really understand what does Flipkart Black have, right? But the first thing when I went through the Flipkart Black was the number of terms and conditions it had. You can do this, but you can't do that. You can earn up to 100 points per order. You can up to a maximum of 800 points per order. So for the human brain to actually comprehend what this is very difficult, right?
So it looks like a CFO has written the TNC.
Correct. Literally, right? So the two things. One is Amazon Prime focused on 2 hero benefits: unlimited free deliveries and access to Prime Video, where you get to see a lot of movies and all that. And that's all. They may have other benefits, but nobody is registering that, right? Flipkart Black was not able to actually articulate what are those top 2 benefits, right? And I'll tell you why this happens, because when I was reading the book Working Backwards, where they've articulated the inception of Prime, right? They're very clear. They were looking at it as a business program and not as a business ROI, and not as a loyalty program ROI. Whereas when you put a lot of terms and conditions, like you said, maybe the CFO designed it, it becomes a loyalty program ROI. And I think that, to me, at its heart, is the difference between these two.
Yeah. And I think so the whole MX player, the too much of monetization has, again, the value proposition is under question.
Correct.
So now you mentioned quick commerce, okay? And I am always amazed that they have launched these Zepto Pass and Blinkit this and Zomato Gold, and they are available for 10 rupees, 7 rupees, 9 rupees, 12 rupees. What I have observed is, these are undifferentiated. Everything is getting you same. The price is 19-20 rupees, upar niche. Now, to be honest, it's like an abuse of the loyalty program. When you are paying for the loyalty program so cheap, and then also you are paying some delivery fees, some search fees, then it does not show that you are having value. So those are examples which I think so the quick commerce companies need to really think about. Why do they have to deliver a program, and it's just not for the sake of having it.
Correct. I totally agree. So, Swiggy One, for example, right? You buy the program and the price keeps changing, right? Every time they say, this is this, I'm giving it at this price type of stuff. But then there again, they will have something saying if you're taking from Swiggy a 7-kilometer radius and a price more than 199, right? Or if it is more than 399, then surge pricing won't apply. So like I said, when the minute you put terms and conditions, right, it becomes confusing. So Zepto Daily, today I was seeing that they said 199, I'm selling it to you at 1 rupee, right? Now the point is, the minute I would rather pay that 199, where they've done possibly their maths and they talk of 1 or 2 hero benefits, which I'm very comfortable with, as opposed to saying I can do a lot of stuff for you and then I have to do the mental math, right? So I have not signed up for any of these.
Yeah, because you get it like
Yeah.
they're like very undifferentiated. So Mahadevv, the way I think about is, it's a 3-step framework, okay? And you can apply that in anywhere, but it's like there are programs which are indifferent. I don't care about it. I have it. I don't have it. See, I personally have 20 plus loyalty programs. I'm signed up and I'm a loyalty junkie. So I keep thinking about, so one is I don't care about it. Zepto, Pass, Zomato, all those go there. The second is I like it. Okay. And then the third is I love it. So to me, my Amazon Prime has moved from love to like.
Correct.
Okay. And the program which I am loving it is the one which is not about giving me cashback or points, is one which is giving me experiences. So we all felt bad when Club Vistara went off, okay? Because we used to, I had taken about 20 business class trips with it, okay? It had a great experience. I love my Amex program, not I was because an ex-employee of it, but it gave you membership, has its own privileges, it gave us Taj vouchers and all.
Correct.
So it gave you memories. I have pictures from it.
Correct.
So if you don't hit the emotion, you will never reach that state. Correct. So I want to ask, from the programs you have not talked about, which is the one which has hit you on the love?
So a couple of them, and I think again it talks to the point that how do you actually amplify the core proposition. Sephora Beauty Insider is a great program.
Achha.
Right.
So I have not heard about the brand maybe.
So Sephora is essentially like it's a beauty retailer.
It's like a Nykaa types.
Yeah, Nykaa
Offline.
type. Nykaa is actually built based on.
Oh,
So Sephora is a US based thing. It's
based.
also there in India, but it is the largest beauty retailer, right? And Sephora Insider is built on not just points and incentives. It's built on the whole experience, right?
Yeah.
They were the first guys who actually introduced this whole thing of fashion assistants, right? So you go into a Sephora store, you get a beauty done, somebody trains you on that. There are a lot of content around it. That thing that you have done in terms of the way the lady does the makeup and all that, what products are used, that whole video gets taken, it gets shared with you. So next time you want to order out of it, it tells you this was what you did and these are the items that went into it. So they expanded on the type of assortment and positioning and curation that they had, understanding of beauty, that they took it to the next step in terms of delivering experience and all that, right? And then trying to sell and upsell or whatever it is. So that I think is a program that really interconnected very well the customer understanding, some incentives, and the whole engagement that goes with it in a very omni fashion.
Yeah.
Physical store, you're there, but you're using digital to deliver some of it. You're then staying in the memory of the customer in terms of how I use. So next time a lady wants to do a makeup of that, then she can go there and look at it, and the video has the type of content that they shared, tells you what was used and all that. And they did this almost 8-9 years back, right?
Wow.
And so there is a connect. So so there are people who use it because it teaches them not just about so basic things about how do you apply beauty, how do you understand your skin tone, what will go with what. So
they had done it in the offline one before the influencer marketing really kicked in. Yeah.
Correct.
I think so. What has changed? One big thing which has changed over the past 2 decades is loyalty programs were created to identify the customer.
Correct.
Because people used to go shop and go away. So we didn't have a digital identity. So that's the way to know and understand the customer and then give them offer.
Correct.
A lot of the need for loyalty program really went away when this whole mobile number became the identity for all of us, especially in India. Today, I think so 95% of people, brands collect your phone number and they tie it to the identity. So the whole need to understand customer, that part has gone away. Now the thing is, what is that I can do to drive loyalty? And especially if you look at retail was the big one where this was happening. One piece which I want to understand from you is what's your thought about cashback versus points? Because that's one keep on thing happening, and there are other formats also which are coming in.
So my own sense is cashback is instant gratification. I have a view about loyalty programs as such, and any incentive that goes in, you have to have a good mix of what I call as instant gratification and long-termism about it, right? Because at the end of it, loyalty is a very compounding effect, right? If you look at pure cashback, then what happens is I come in, it's almost like giving a discount literally there, right? And then can be used anywhere type of stuff. As opposed to loyalty, and I won't just say loyalty points because loyalty points is just one component
Currency,
of
yeah.
it, right? And that currency can be used for multiple things, and we'll
Yes.
discuss that. But loyalty points by nature is almost trying to get the customer back to you, experience it, right?
Yeah.
So purely speaking it from a, how do you use that to amplify your customer connect? I'm a big fan of loyalty points as opposed to cashback, which is
Yeah.
instant and the business doesn't know what
Yeah.
to make out of it.
And generally what I've seen is, also which happens in Amazon, we never remember the cashback which comes with 21 rupees, 5 rupees,
Correct.
6 rupees.
Correct.
So it's very instant, but it's invaluable. Like you
You
don't
understand
care
value.
about it.
Correct.
But where you accumulate certain things and you use it for an experience, then
Correct.
it matters. And then there are these new formats. You get a buy one, get one, you get different things and you unlock it.
Correct.
But I guess if you don't touch the emotional angle,
Correct.
but it takes time.
So, and that's why I'm saying points is good to, it has got some benefits, and I don't want to, the value of points is just one small part of it, the way I see it, right? But how do you really use points to understand and incentivize or excite a customer and build an emotional connect? You just don't need to use that and say, okay, you have got 100 rupees of 100 points, which is worth 100 rupees, and you can take a discount next time. How do you really understand that customer and engage with him becomes very important, right?
Yeah.
So in that 100 points, if you're in Starbucks and if you can get that additional coffee, right? How do you connect with that? So it's your core value product, and then you're adding on top of it, right? This example I gave about this thing that you can go and buy an iPad based on the partnership they had with Imagine, right?
Yeah.
So suddenly the value of the point
Yeah.
increased significantly for me, right?
Yeah. And it creates a physical memory.
It creates a physical memory, right?
Yeah.
Or in terms of based on points or tiering, where you create some sort of a, let's say, a priority check-in or priority checkout, right?
Yeah.
So I remember when we did Lifestyle Edge, we had this priority checkout for customers who were Edge customers, and you had these queues during end of season sales, and there was this,
Red carpet.
red carpet where customers are checking out, and the guys would go and say, "Are you an Edge customer?" Get their phone number, scan it, and say, "So you can check out." And suddenly there was that, why am I not Edge, right? And so. So it is about creating a emotional connect with the program, right?
Like what has happened is the airport lounge access.
Airport lounge
Like it
access,
was a
that's-
privilege. Now you see more lines in the airport lounge than in the normal places.
Correct.
So you have to maintain that balance of the differentiation.
Correct.
So Maha, a lot of our audience is also thinking that how should I launch a loyalty program? And you have launched loyalty programs, understood Tesco, you have launched it for Landmark, you have done it for BlackBerry. So let's try to think and create a playbook, maybe a simple 5-step framework, which is like a mental model to approach how to design a loyalty program and run it. Okay. So would love to start with the step 1.
Broadly, so 5 steps is what I also look at. So first one is about what I call as objectives, or understanding the business context and the objectives.
Okay.
Right?
So the why of the loyalty program.
Yeah, why of the loyalty program, and frankly, the loyalty program comes next. The business context and objectives almost, why does the business exist in the first place, right?
Like your boss asked you in Landmark.
Correct, right? So the question there is, and that is where at a CXO level, the first discussion is, what is it you're wanting to achieve at a business level? What is your context? Which industry are you in? What is your understanding of your customer persona? So for example, if it's a grocery retail chain, then the frequency is very high, right? Product differentiation is less, right? The margins you make is less. And then you understand the customer scenario, which market you're operating in, all that, right? Equally, if you are, let's say, a furniture retailer or a jewelry retailer, then possibly the customer is coming once a year or maybe once in 18 months type of stuff, right? Something like apparel or fashion is somewhere in between, right? If you're a QSR, maybe somebody is visiting once in 2 weeks or a month. If you're a coffee chain, maybe people are visiting every day, right? So there are nuances to it. So that industry context, where are they? Are they an established player? Are they a startup player? What is their differentiation, right? So are you right now the disruptor, or are you someone who's protecting your base? Where are you, right? And then understanding, what do you really understand of your customer persona, right? What is that particular need that you are trying to meet? So we are not even getting to the loyalty program. So that is where I try and ask them, because what is that you want to achieve? What are your objectives for the business? So very simple thing, people will say, I want to grow, or I'm not getting new customers, I've hit saturation, right? or my repeat customer base is not growing. It looks like competition is actually taking away my customers, and I want to ring fence them. These are the things that you want to understand, that what are you wanting to achieve in your business, right? And then you say, how do you think you want your loyalty program to contribute it, right? If you ask the loyalty programs, everybody will say, I want to get more repeat, more
revenue.
More revenue. That is the answer.
Very
right?
transactional.
Very transactional. So when you get on this particular thing, it gives you a perspective why the business, and you ask them, why are you in business? What is your reason for existence, right? And some of this requires a level of confidence to ask that question, and also being able to get the comfort with the CXO and CEO that they are willing to answer those questions, right?
As an employee, you cannot ask it to your boss, but as a consultant, you can ask it.
No, employee also, see, if you are at a functional head level who's designing the program, you are a CXO, right? You better have the courage to ask that or understand that. Maybe directly or indirectly you have to figure that out.
Because loyalty is not a short-term commitment, it's a long-term commitment, and it has financial implications.
Absolutely, right? So that is the first part of understanding this thing. Okay, so this is where you want to go, and you're saying these are the things that you want to, possibly the loyalty program can help you with it. That's your expectation of it, right? The objective of your business and objective of what you want to achieve. The second step I do is, I loosely call it discovery, right? Now, if the business has had a earlier loyalty program, or even if they don't have the data capture that is available, then I look at it as 2-3 things broadly that I cover in that space. One is looking at the data to understand what type of customer segments are there, what is the type of transactional behavior that the customer is showing in terms of, what are their most valuable customers, how frequently do they buy, and all that type of stuff. That's the quantitative part of understanding it. Then I definitely do a qualitative part of it, where I actually visit some of the stores of either clients on the business that I was working in, where I talk to a few clients, where I understand who are their most loyal customers, and talk to them to understand that why do they come. And I don't talk of loyalty program at all. I talk about why do you come to this particular store, what does it offer to you that you're not going elsewhere, and that gives you a lot of insight about it. I also do a few competition of that to understand what is really happening. That gives me a bit of customer persona that is visiting, right? The third part is I focus on what is called as execution. So when I visit stores, are they really talking of any loyalty program if they have it already, right? If they have any data, and a classic question I ask everybody is, every CEO and CXO will say, I have this loyalty program, I want this to be, but you ask any of them saying, tell me who is your top 20 customers, right? I have never had a very clear answer to that, right? The point is, typically your top 20 or top 100 customers must be buying 20x of your normal buys,
that's
right?
for sure. In fact, I'll tell you, when I was at Amex, once our CEO had, and I was part of the analytics team, I was asked and there used to be a top 100 customer analysis done, and we used to look at the shifts. And the CEO used to always write a personalized note, and this I'm telling 10 years ago, not in 2015 I left, so around 12, 13. And he used to write a personal note, call them, greet them, and make sure that's happening. And he used to look at the shifts which is happening. And he had a one-to-one connect. And these are guys who are spending in millions.
So that is very important, right? Now, sometimes what happens if a retailer is typically sending 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 AOV type of basket, right? So that person is possibly spending 1 lakh or 1.5 lakhs, right? But knowing that customer is very important to know for two things. One is you really understand the intent behind why they are purchasing. So not only do you understand who are your most valuable customers, you understand why they have a connect with your brand, which is worth its weight in gold. And the other thing is, when you have this phone number thing that is there is a lot of data corruption that also happens, right? Where sometimes the store, and where it's not entirely digital, the store decides to play some mischief. And so that gives you an insight into it, right? So that's the discovery part of it. That tells us what are your core customers, what are they really buying, why are they buying with you, what is your spread, like the top 2%.
So basically the customer insights, and then you kind of understand what's happening. So which is huge amount of piece.
That tells you actually, you understand what is currently happening. Are customers churning, staying on? Customers have stayed with the brand for 8 years.
Actually, if you see these days, because the identity problem has been solved, this insight is possible before even loyalty program is launched. Earlier, this was only possible after the loyalty program is launched.
Absolutely.
In retail especially.
So that's why I'm saying. So If you don't have a loyalty program, you still have data, right?
Yeah.
Because see, today people are sharing phone numbers not because of incentive. They're sharing because you get your e-invoice, your e-credit
Yeah, you
notes.
save a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a lot
Plus
of
also you get
convenience, so they
free
share it.
SMS and WhatsApp.
Correct. Correct. No, that is our purpose, but the point is from a consumer perspective, there is some convenience for them, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. So even if they don't have a loyalty program, we have enough data to understand that, right? The third part
step,
is the design part, right? Now, design is where I always say it is about art meeting science, right?
Wow.
It is not about just saying that, okay, the math works here, these are my most valuable customers. If I do this, so obviously you have to do a trade-off in terms of financial modeling of the whole stuff. Do you want to increase frequency? Do you want to increase value? I mean, right, somebody who's actually, if the average visit for that industry is once a year or whatever, then possibly every time they come, you want to sell more to them as opposed to saying I'll increase the frequency. Logically not possible, right? If you're in a grocery business, then you want to focus on frequency as opposed to possibly saying, can I actually sell more to them, right? So you do the nuance of that the data tells you in terms of what you want to achieve. The second is, take for example a furniture and a jewelry, right? Typical furniture may be a lakh to lakh and a half if you buy sofas or beds or whatever it is, and take a jewelry, high-end jewelry thing, where typical product value is around a lakh to lakh and a half, right? The customer persona is very different, and that's where you have to figure out that what you are offering and the way you are offering has to connect with them. Right?
Yeah, and one is a more transactional product, one is a more emotional and a...
Absolutely. Now, how do you build loyalty in a furniture thing? Because the person is going to come once a year. So, Saurabh comes and shops at this furniture retailer. He likes it, but he's going to shop once a year, right? That's only so much I can say. But I can leverage Saurabh's advocacy and referral by trying to get new customers, and that's actually a loyalty program, right? So referral as part of this can work in both places, right? Because your frequency is going to be limited. Your value is going to be once a year during occasions or whatever, but you build in referral to say that you're getting value out of your loyal customers. Having said that, the way you actually engage a furniture customer and you reward him or her for referral has to be very different from the way you do it to a jewelry thing. So think of a jewelry retailer, a customer, she's buying for 1.5 lakhs or 2 lakhs, right? Possibly the middle class, upwardly mobile Indian. She's part of kitty parties, social engagements and all that, right? She will not want to have a snigger behind her back where somebody saying, Kya ho gaya? Why is she recommending? She's getting 5% cashback, it looks like, right? So I'm, with a...
So passion versus incentive. Huh?
Correct. So a jewelry retailer was telling me that they run this program and they suddenly made this big saying that you refer and we will give you 10% back in whatever. And they said the referrals actually came down, right? And I told him, you would not do that because the minute you did this, you have made it very transactional. And that lady is more worried about her positioning in society than the 10% she cares for which you are giving it. Now you have to give it in a very smart way. Don't put a value to it. Say that you are part of or whatever. You have silent points based on which you increase a tier, and then do maybe a selfie with your brand ambassador.
So think about, say, somebody saying such a nice earrings you are wearing. Where did you buy? I would say, so the lady says, I bought it from, say, ABC brand. Okay, I'll also try. Okay, wait, I'll send you my referral link. Go and use this. It can become a very cringy one.
No, see, so that is one. They may not do it, but even if they do it silently, hey, look, this thing is there, I'll introduce you there. If, let's say, this lady 1 is telling lady 2, and the lady 2, when she goes and buys, she realizes that the lady wouldn't have got 5% offer, then the lady 2 is going to tell all friends in that circle, right? So you have to package it in such a way that it goes with that persona. It is not belittling for them. So a loyalty program is a program where it has to actually amplify the brand and make the person feel important. You have to be very careful about it, right? And again, if you are, like you said, furniture, a very transaction item, it's okay, right? So Meesho for the longest time started with this thing where friends could sell to friends, right? And so everybody knew. But then it was a target customer persona looking was very different from this, right? So that is where this thing of art versus science comes in, right? How do you want to engage? If you have a brand which is a very serious brand, do you want to do gamification beyond a particular level? Right? So how do you build that experience becomes very, very, very important to what you want to achieve as a brand, your core proposition, your differentiation, and the customer persona you are targeting.
And what I understand is in a typical loyalty program, there is this earn construct, how you earn through the point this and how you redeem or burn.
Correct.
And balancing that, both, you have to have enough mechanisms to earn and you have to have enough mechanisms to burn.
Correct.
Plus referral is on top of it, like
Correct.
a circle which will get you member get member.
Correct.
And in fact, I was talking to somebody especially in Club Mahindra, and they were saying that they get almost 45% of their new customers from referral.
Correct.
Which is like an amazing thing. Like your whole thing is working very strongly, and it's not a cheap product. Like it must be costing minimum 3 to 4 lakhs.
Correct.
For
and
that.
same thing, Club Mahindra, you buy it once, you buy it for literally life. You don't keep buying.
It's like a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year.
15-year type of thing. So once you buy it, so your referral is actually a strong incentive.
Yeah.
A new D2C brand, right? Referral is very important for them. Now, again, some of them make it, see, sometimes the referral programs are making it sound like you get some cash or incentive or whatever. That balance has to be depending on the customer persona.
Yeah, so I think so the heart and soul lies in this design.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So now let's move from design into execution.
Execution. So execution again has broadly 2 or 3 components that we look at it. One is the digitalization of this whole thing, or technology
the tech
stack
part of
right?
the
tech part of
execution,
it, right? So how do you want to design? I mean, most brands today are almost going omni. Either you're digitally first going into omni or physical first going into digital. Most brands have that, and then on top of that, the marketplaces, there are multiple mediums of conversation that are happening today. So omni is almost a reflection of all of this, right?
Yeah.
So how do you want to ensure that you are able to leverage and engage with the customer, right?
Yeah.
That
I think so the complexity also comes in omnis, companies don't have uniform POS.
correct.
So like one brand I was working with, they were using the Shopify store POS and this, so they didn't have this problem. So it's very seamless. But
Correct.
people have online working on say Shopify or Magento, and then offline working on something else. So it's a very difficult customer thing, and that's where the complexity of tech also goes deep.
Correct. So that whole part of Landmark, for example, where I
And
work.
it must be even much more complex,
yeah.
even
So you
10
had-
years ago.
You had, the whole e-commerce was built on Hybris, and it was the e-commerce first type of thing that they didn't launch it as Omni. They launched it as the e-commerce business. Structure of how Omni organizations are done is a totally different thing. Possibly we can talk about it some other time. But most businesses in India, physical first going to e-commerce, they have e-commerce and they have physical stores. While they want to call it Omni, the behavior, the structure is all very, very multi-channel and not really omni-channel, right?
Yeah, that's the transition they have to go through.
That have to go through. But having said that, now if you are on different platforms, that's the reality today. So digital first customers like this brand you spoke about, if they've started on Shopify and then they've gone to Shopify Plus using that same POS in their physical
Shopify
stores,
POS,
then it becomes a little more easy in terms
to
of
have the customer view and then
Correct.
run the. And what my wife has a D2C brand, Coral Slab. So what we tried is, there is this. We said, okay, let's also launch a loyalty program. Kya jata hai? And we saw there are very interesting tools available for a very small price, like even like about less than $50 per month. Okay, you integrate. It's called Nectar, and it has everything. You earn, burn, redeem. And what we started seeing is, one day she was telling me a lady first ordered about say 3,000-4,000 rupees. She got, and the construct is like 5-10% cash points back. Second order, she again got this. Then the third order, and it went for 4 days. She did like one for 2 weeks because the delivery takes time, and she used it again and again, and it really drove that whole funnel. So it's the gratification, and the tech is becoming much simpler. And it took us 2 hours to implement it.
So in this case, Saurabh, you didn't have a loyalty program, you were building it upfront.
Yeah,
so there are programs like
So there's a framework, you just adopt it and you're done.
Correct, and you're done, right? If you're an established business, there are challenges. Like I said, the Landmark Group,
go crazy on
your Paulson or Oracle or whatever retech, and you're having SAP Hybrid.
Execution will be a difficult.
Yeah. So, but then that is where you have to see what part of it can be used, right? So the once you and some part of it goes into design as well. When you're thinking about it, what are the type of limitations and guardrails within which you need to operate, right? Because you can't have a program which is so designed that it will take 10 years to implement it, right? Because all these businesses also have. So in my design, which is the part I didn't speak about, is I always get the tech guys involved, just to ensure that I know what are the blockages that could be possible, right? So the execution is a combination of 3 things, like I said. One is agreeing the final tech architecture and the tech platform or whatever. and the roadmap for that. The second is the whole thing about the moment of truth where the execution happens, the customer experience part. So digital experience, how will we simplify it? How many click-throughs can you reduce in terms of what you want?
Yeah, how simple is it?
How simple is it? How intuitive is it? And if you are an omni business, then how are your stores and your physical store staff really part of that particular flow, right? Because 80 to 90% of business still happens physically, right? So this whole Infinia example I was giving is, if they had done their homework, this is something they should have told me 6 years back. I mean,
and this is more of like a digital communication. If there is a WhatsApp or an email going through you, so you will be made aware.
Correct. Now again, since you mentioned email in this, you see a benefit that Infinia talks about. Have they spoken about golf? Yes, they have, right? But it is hidden between some 10 things they're offering as benefit, right? So today the Infinia card is not, valuable to me because of all the other benefit offers. Right? That one benefit that they should have spoken about was hidden somewhere in the subtext somewhere, right? So how do you execute it to know that these are the two hero benefits, and now you have personalization? So how do you really communicate that? Pick that and communicate that. Everything else can be the subtext, right? How do you engage stores to tell them as to how they should actually, and again, it has to be very simple. They can't oversell the program.
Yeah, it's not about reading a text. It's about communicating through
correct, right?
Conversation.
And then the third part is about, in the implementation part is understanding how do you really want to, the metrics around it, how do you want to actually see that, how will that be made available to you in terms of what is working, what is not working, right? So that's the implementation part. The tech part, the training and rollout, and then the part that, how are you actually going to see the benefit of it, what is the type of, recurring meeting you want to have and all that, right?
And generally the tech implementation, if somebody like a D2C would want to launch, will take how much time?
See, if you don't have a loyalty program currently and you are launching it, I mean, in current situation, depends on the brand, but anywhere, in terms of the design, the discovery design part and all that takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, right? If there is some data or whatever it is, that takes it. The implementation part, like you said, you gave this example, it could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 5 or 6 weeks, depending
if
on
you
the
the more clarity and tech
correct
is easy to do.
Correct.
In fact, sometimes you have to see how can you design the program to the framework you're adopting.
Correct.
Or the other ways, because if you go too creative, then the development will hit you.
Correct.
So it's a build versus buy.
Correct.
Or it is even like you pick and just configure and you put in. So
correct.
Like build, buy, configure.
And that is where there is, like you said, there is a trade-off that is necessary. So you take Starbucks rewards, right? Great program, everybody likes it. But then again, Starbucks is Starbucks. And that is why the Starbucks rewards acts on top of it, right? Now, one of the things that they introduce, which I quite like about Starbucks rewards, is this whole thing called streaks, which is, streaks is essentially saying you buy in streaks, right? You buy in streak of 2 days, the second day you get a better value proportion. You buy in streak of 6 days, then your value proportion increases. What are they doing? Because coffee is a daily drink, right? They want that particular thing, a habit loop to be formed, right?
In fact, if you remember, Big Bazaar had this Profit Club card where you upfront pay 10,000 bucks and every month you have to get, you will get 1,000 rupees thing for 12 months.
Correct.
In fact, I remember we had bought 3 cards, one in my name, my father's name, my wife's name, and we used to use the 3,000. But anytime our bill used to be 4-5, and it created an habit, and we used to go every time. So moving from the 4th execution tech to the 5th step,
the steady state part of it. That's the stabilization part of it. See, once you roll it out, right now. So when you're doing the design and the implementation, there is the program and also the communication part of it, right? Which is, it is just not designing the loyalty program saying this is the benefit I'm going to give. How are you going to communicate to them? When will you communicate, right? Is your platform going to enable that, which is this whole hand-holding plan and customer journeys that we are talking about? You design through that, right? Now, in the stabilization part is where you start measuring that, right?
Yes.
So there is a business measurement that you will do. There's so the business metric in terms of really, is your business growing? Is your marketing ROI improving? Those are the type of things that you want to look at, right? So if you're a D2C or Omni brand, you're saying, is my geographical growth happening? And is my marketing ROI improving along that, right? If you're a purely physical retailer, you're looking at maybe geography or same store growth type of stuff and saying how your marketing ROI is working, right? Then you get to the program ROI part of it where you say, for the program spend I am doing, what is the type of repeat sales that I'm able to generate, right? Which is now this is not entirely loyalty program. This is a combination of loyalty program and your business, the market you are in, right?
Like basically, what's the repeat you're
generating. Then you have this thing which is what I call as, and then in that you look at customer metrics, which is what is my current churn, is my actually customer monthly spend or annual spend increasing? So as a measure of it is my lifetime value that I'm predicting, is it increasing? So am I trending well, right?
Yeah.
So there's a business metric, customer metric, and then your ongoing what I call as operational metric, which is, am I actually more customers? Am I signing up? Are they actually becoming part of the program? Right? How many are actually clicking on whatever I'm sending to them? Right? How many mediums are they actually connected with me? Right? Those are the type of what I call as operational metrics, right? So, and then when you do this, you create what is called as a customer engagement calendar or contact calendar. Right?
So basically, then it moves into the retention marketing.
Correct. So you have these, you have defined this customer journey plans and all that, which you say when somebody actually downloads my app, what will happen type of stuff. Somebody actually returns a product, what will you do? Somebody's not come back for 30 days, what will you do? You're based on latency. You define all these what you call as automated shopping journeys or customer journeys and all that. And then on top of that, depending on what is working for you or not, you create customer engagement calendars or contact calendars based on saying, okay, this particular cohort doesn't seem to be working with me and I want to talk about this business benefit or product benefit or program benefit to these customers, right? Or I want to actually try out new products. So I'm going to actually see if I can do category penetration in that. So you design that and that actually tells you how your program is running.
And I think so once you have done it, this is where the real work happens, and it's boring, but you have to be consistently doing with a lot of science, with a lot of behavior science, with a lot of content.
Correct. And that cadence and that reporting and review, that's you can call it stabilization, you call it governance, whichever you call it, that is very important.
So tell me one thing, once you launch a loyalty program, how soon should the business expect an ROI from a program?
So that's the interesting one, because many people say, okay, we launched this, what can we see next quarter, right? And I keep telling them that if you are looking at a short-term ROI in 3 months, what you want to get, right? Then what you are building is a scheme or a promo campaign and not really a loyalty program. Right?
I'll give you an example, okay? I'll not talk about a loyalty program, but employee loyalty, okay? So I was talking to one of the founders, and it's a large company with about 200,000 plus stores, and they have an attrition problem, employee attrition problem. Kitna attrition hai? 40% and CAGR. And I said, what is the issue? He said, we don't know, people are not willing and the employees are like this, that. And I said, okay, so what are the initiatives you did? How engaged are you emotionally with them? Kehte yaar Saurabh, we started celebrating birthday, cake cutting birthday every month. We tried it for 3 months and we didn't see any change in the employee attrition, so we stopped it.
So, so that's exactly the problem, right?
So, and I generally say is, lot of things you have to do consistently. It's like Chyawanprash, रोज खाओगे, शायद बीमार पड़ो ना पड़ो, but खाना पड़ेगा. You have to do it to be healthy. You have to do your morning walk, you have to do your yoga, whatever you do, you have to be physically healthy. So sometimes hygiene is very key.
Correct. So it is like, it is like the return on opportunity versus return on investment, right? The 3 महीने में मुझे चाहिए is a very return on investment type of thing.
So it's better to run a campaign. Don't create a loyalty program. Run a cashback campaign, run a discount coupon. चला दो चलेगा. And it'll work. It'll give you short-term returns. Loyalty takes minimum 2 years, I guess.
Correct. And you have to go through the process. It is like building a muscle memory, like you rightly said. And then that habit loop you will create for yourself and your customers. And then it has a compounding effect, right?
Even you cannot even see a 1-year retention rate, because you have to have that 1 year go and you will need 2 years, because day one you will not get everyone.
Correct.
So you'll have to see
some businesses you can see, but it is not like all customers will register everything on day one. It will take for the customer to register what your program is and what the proposition it has on offer. It will take time, right? So, for example, you could say in a grocery market, you could say month on month, I want to see it. You won't see the performance immediately, but you can look at the monthly metrics at least, right? You want to look at the apparel thing, the typical average shopping is 3 to 4 times in a year. Looking at monthly is not going to help. Looking at quarterly is not going to help. At least if you have to look at 2 years to say, क्या हुआ पिछले साल के customer का, have they come back? What is happening?
And one piece which I've seen, companies doing it if I ask them what percentage of your base is loyalty member base. If the answer is anything about 90, they are not getting any incremental value from their loyalty program, because it's like a tier given to everyone.
Huh.
So one piece, while we are talking about the design of the loyalty program, this should be a good framework for most of the brands, okay, who are single brand. And there are three types of companies, like you said, Landmark example, and it's a group loyalty program. And then there is a coalition loyalty program, which even is much more complex. The biggest coalition loyalty program used to be iMint, and then which was called Payback.
Correct.
I don't think so any other coalition loyalty program is still surviving. They have died their own deaths. What is surviving are group loyalty programs like the Tata Neo, Reliance One, Adani, and there are few more. Landmark is one, but it's not easy to manage. I'm sure the design and construct part.
Correct.
Tell me something. What are some mistakes? We talked about the benefits and all mistakes brands make while thinking through loyalty program.
So the first is they look at loyalty program is separate from the business, right? So they this think, if I do a loyalty program, it will do something for my business, right? That is the first. So that's the first warning signal that a loyalty program, like I said, can only amplify it. You don't start a loyalty program tomorrow and say, because I have a loyalty program, I'll have benefits, right?
So should they be look at like a P&L?
As a business P&L, not as a loyalty program P&L.
Okay.
You have to look at it as see, for example.
And I think so what you also mentioned is Amazon Prime as a great example. There's a shareholder letter written on this one, which is a very good read.
Correct.
And then you mentioned the book.
Correct.
It is a very patiently, passionately created.
Correct. See, so I'll tell you, and this is a learning for me. When I started Landmark Rewards, right, or rather built Landmark Rewards, somewhere it got into a thing where they said, it became very metrics about what the program is delivering, right? While in hindsight, I can say a lot of stuff that we did. The first 1-2 years, I also did a lot of mistakes, right? Suddenly, it looked like I was a P&L head, right? So I was more worried about trying to figure out how the program is actually running and am I making money for the company, right? And it was not just a lack of understanding from my side. It was possibly multiple impulses coming my way, or triggers coming my way, which I, in my mind, construed that I had to make money out of the program. And what it meant is, how do I actually spend money? Where should I spend money? Should I do partnerships? Should I earn through partners to say that, this is what we will do? Co-branded card, what is the type of money we are getting out of acquiring customers for the co-branded card? So we used to get a thing from earlier StanChart and then with SBI. But that is that's what typically a coalition program does. They are running a business of, while they're supporting, they want to
monetize it too quickly.
Monetize it quickly. Whereas if you're a brand loyalty program or a group loyalty program, your reason for existing is the brand or the group's business. You exist for them and not the other way, right? So that's the first differentiation between these three things, right?
Which is the second issue which happens?
The second issue in a group program is one of, again, in a group, multiple businesses have
different
multiple
objectives.
customer personas, objectives, shopping missions, and etc., right? Different margin structures and all that. So there's always this thing, what am I getting in it? Right? So, because many CEOs perceive they lose control when it goes into a group program, right? Which is a challenge on any group program, right? So, there is always this thing, if I'm running a program within my remit, I know it's all money is being spent for my customers and my business. Whereas, if it is going to a group program, what is going to happen about that, right? This was the challenge till 10 years back. Now, a concept of loyalty bank has come in. So, where if their points are not spent by some other brand, then almost 90% of the money comes back to the brand. So to an extent, that problem has been solved. Earlier, this was a big issue, right? Yeah. The other thing is tiering is a huge issue in groups, right? Because you take the example of Landmark, a furniture thing. So we had a thing called, if you buy for 75,000 rupees annually or 12-month rolling, you become platinum. You buy a sofa for 1 lakh, you become platinum. Right, which is already at a discount of 30%. If you bought it at 1 lakh, you become a platinum customer.
Yeah.
Whereas a max customer who typically buys for 1,500, 2,000 or average bill value, even if they do 20, which is like their absolute most valuable customer segment, would never qualify for that tier. right? So you have to be a little mindful of. So that is where I thought, and then we, in some sense, my boss asked me to travel abroad and learn something and come back. And I actually, one of the things that I learned was Gap, for example. So Gap has
5-6 Old Navy.
Yeah, so there is Gap, there is Old Navy, there is Athleta, there is Banana Republic. Now each of them, if you go to Banana Republic, they have a Banana Republic program. There's a Gap program, Old Navy, Navy Store, whatever, and then you have this Athleta, right? In the back end, it's all one reward, which is they call it Gap reward. But when you go in, they are going with the brand name, right? Now, this is the other part, which is the group program.
How to brand it?
How do you brand it? See, in some Tata's, for example, the brand itself is so overpowering as a group. By having that Tata name coming in, it is helping not only your brand but also your program, for example, right? Because the brand by nature says trust or whatever, right? Reliance, to an extent, it also has a great brand recall type of stuff. Landmark, on the other hand, people didn't know it.
Yeah, people knew lifestyle. They don't
People know
Landmark.
lifestyle, Max, Home Center. And so when we initially tried to do Landmark rewards, what we realized and building a brand in India, given our thing, is a huge cost, right?
Yeah. If you see Tata Neo had to sponsor IPL, like it's a huge, I'm sure 1,000 crore plus must have been spent onto it.
And so one of
whatever we say, I'd say it's one of the biggest coalition loyalty, the group loyalty program being done.
Now, the point is, what value are they getting? I don't have the answers to that. But my thing is, my learning is, you don't spend too much money on building a loyalty program brand. If you're not a coalition where you're running a business, where loyalty program is a business, you build that.
Yeah, like what I meant or Payback did, they were building.
Or Nectar for that matter, right? But if you are a brand program or a group program, right? If you're a brand program, the brand is what it is, right? It is Blackberry's points or whatever it is type of stuff. If you're a group program, you're better off spending the money on building your base individual brands and calling it and using the group program to understand the customers across the group, incentivizing them
better. So the third mistake which you are saying is basically the how to brand or like how much money you throw just building the brand.
Correct.
Yeah. And tiering, the point on tiering, like Tata Group, I am a big loyalist. Tanishq has a great tiering. Maharaja Club Maharaja has a very good tiering. But somewhat, I think so. I spend almost like 2-3 lakh rupees in that ecosystem. I don't buy jewelry, so start spending, then it'll go very high. But the tiering in Neo, like I am a legend member. What do I get as a legend member? Some 200 rupees 1 mg membership, which is available for $100.
Correct.
So, do I really feel valued? You calling me a legend, and what's the experience you're giving?
Correct.
So maybe it's the economics which ends up doing, but that is where companies have to crack it. I'm sure Tata has the right customer experience and centricity mindset to drive it.
Yeah, but see, so they have Titan Encircle. That is part of the program. They have this Taj reward. That's also part of this program. So my way of looking at it is, okay, Tata has got a brand name, right? So as a part of a holistic thing, where say they built it as this whole super app or whatever it is, Tata Neo. And then on that, they're trying to do this. But from a loyalty perspective, when you're going to a hotel, right, Taj is a brand name in its own right. I mean, many people don't know Taj is part of Tata's.
Yeah.
Right? They know Taj as the thing.
Yeah, because Taj was built with that,
Correct. So, so Taj rewards, if I'm a frequent visitor to Taj, the Taj rewards is what connects with me. Right?
But I'll tell you the other side. I go to Taj once in 2 years. But what I saw is for one of the trips, I spent maybe 20,000-25,000. I got about 1,500, 10,000 points, which I used it in Big Basket. So multiple infrequent purchaser or brands, when they come together, the points can help you get that recognition.
I'm totally
But the experience, will you hit the experience thing is the question.
No, so the point I'm saying is, what you exactly said is, I get Big Basket, there are some, whatever you earn through it, Taj you earn through it, you earn through Tanishq. And the fact that you can, at cross-functional purposes, depending on how the group wants to play it, you're able to use it and do the brand penetration for a customer is great. But do you need an overarching brand on top of it is the question I'm asking.
Yeah. Do you want to spend in building the
loyalty IPL brand or what? Do you need it? That's the question, right? See, for example, you look at Shukran, right? Now, Shukran is they've invested the money, they built Shukran as a brand, right? But if you look at Landmark Group has got almost 18 to 20 formats. Each of them are big brands in their own right, right? Now they've invested money called Shukran, so which is okay. They also have Shukran app or whatever. But for me, the biggest learning, and I think I'm very fortunate to have that learning, is that when you build a brand, building brand is a very, very costly affair. If you can, if the brand is strong, if you can work on the brand's back, you're far better off than trying to create a separate
parallel brand for it. Yeah.
See, Blackberries also, when we did, they used to call it Firebird points, right? तो अभी हमने सिंपलीफाई कर उसको बोला ब्लैकबेरीज पॉइंट ही कहते हैं बिकॉज इजी है लोगों को याद करना, राइट? नहीं तो हर एक को ट्रेन करो फायरबर्ड पॉइंट्स बोलो कर.
So like you and I are very big fan of analytics, okay? So if you could tell me 2-3 KPIs which people should really monitor to say the success of a loyalty program.
Again, I will say success of brand loyalty.
Brand loyalty, yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
So the easiest measure is figuring out the customer lifetime value.
Okay.
Right? And very simply put, it is average monthly spent by customers divided by the average monthly churn of customers. Right? Or if you are an annual business, average annual spend of customers divided by annual churn of the customer. I think that in a sense tells the longevity of the customer, talks about the value of the customer, which is over a period of time, it gives the long-termism, and then you know whatever money you're investing in that program is a percentage of that, right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing I would say is what was your program spend divided by your customer lifetime value, right? That will tell you, and if that is improving, then your program is at a very high level structurally, you're trending the right direction.
So let's move into a little bit on careers in loyalty programs. So if you could talk about what are, like, listening to this podcast, I'm sure people will be excited that it's a very interesting field. What are some different roles which gets created? What are the careers which are there, and how can people think through as they enter the workforce?
So a few areas is, so one is this whole thing of customer insights, right? So
analytics part of it.
Analytics part of it, right? Which is really understanding the customer, how is it contributing to business. And it is just not about what customers are purchasing and their engagement. It is also about how customer insights can actually influence your core value proposition, right? That is the part that is very interesting. See, when people talk of loyalty programs, people generally talk at the fringes saying, what are customers buying? You know, how am I engaging with them? And to me, that is all great. But your real meat of running a good loyalty program
is into
insights into how the business can actually improve its core proposition and experience, right?
Exactly.
Right. So that's the part.
So that's
a very interesting
analytics, customer insights part.
Correct. And that is a very great thing, because anybody who's got a little more business perspective, interested in understanding the business, right?
And understands data.
Yes. Yeah. And then you really get an understanding of the business from a customer insight or customer viewpoint.
Yeah.
If I mean, I may be biased towards this whole thing. If anyone is aspiring to run a business someday, or go to the top of that business, the best place you can be is in terms of starting with consumer insights.
Yeah.
Right?
If you understand consumer insights, whether it's qualitative, quantitative, it's the best place to...
Correct. Start, because that gives you a real understanding of why customers are buying what they're buying, why do they connect, and how is it that you can actually connect back to the business. That's a great start point. If anybody's got interest in that, they're in a very good place.
Let's go to the second one.
The second one is in terms of, so in today's world, what's happening is technology is changing very fast.
Yeah.
Right?
So somebody's with MarTech.
Correct. MarTech is extremely, great place to be in, because there you have this thing of, so MarTech, the tech part is very important. The MarTech part, the marketing side of it, which is the ability to really, how do you create a virality quotient? How do you really look at creative, right? How do you understand the fuzzy logic of communication, right?
Yes.
So that's the second part, right? So those are the two things that I can broadly think of.
And then the third part, which I can just add to it, is the content part.
Correct.
So thinking about the content, because at the end you are executing technically and getting, what do I send?
Correct.
How do I highlight Maha that golf could be the right thing?
Correct.
You might be receiving the content, this thing,
Correct.
but is that feature really pushing up?
Correct.
So
Correct.
content is the third, and I think so. This
Correct.
whole
No,
you don't need to understand loyalty. I think if you understand the basics, it's a role available, whether the company has a program or not.
Correct. See, and you know, there was very interesting that Baby Shop did, right? Whether you call it as part of loyalty or not, but just from the creative side of it, I want to talk about it. So, in the Arabic word, there is this, for parenthood, there was a thing called al-abuwa or something, which was essentially meaning fatherhood, right? So, there was no word called motherhood in the Arabic literature.
Wow.
Okay. So, what Baby Shop did is they called all these Maulvis and all that there, and they did a thing, and they introduced the Arabic literature, which actually had both motherhood and fatherhood in that, and they created a new word, which they got all these people to sign off, and they introduced it on Mother's Day.
Wow.
Right? So that hit such a virality quotient. They would have spent maybe some, you know, whatever, in Indian equivalent, they would have spent some couple of lakhs, right? But the fact that it was Baby Shop, their target customer was the mother, right? And they did something which was phenomenal, right? But that was very interesting, right?
So you really hit the quotient of emotion, and you kind of drove the purpose. So
actually, since you mentioned this word called emotion, right? So somebody who's got at its core, right, as a human thing, has got a lot of empathy. In fact, customers who are wanting to do any of this space, be in MarTech, be it in consumer insights going to business, or the creative and the content side of it, they need to have practice empathy actually. I mean, it may not sound, I mean, today everybody says you need empathy for everything, but because the consumer world is changing so fast, you need to at your core have empathy, because you are constantly listening and reflecting on it.
Yeah. So, Maha, let's move from loyalty into something in AI. You know, no conversations today can end without AI.
Correct.
And I know you are a big student of Agentic AI and now experimenting. Tell us one experiment which you are really looking up to and you want to share. So there are two things. What does the experiment do? And how can somebody listening to this podcast can do it? We'll also share if there's some video which you can share with us later, the how part.
Yeah, see, I mean, so after generative AI has come, and this whole, for someone like me who's not really a coder and a non-tech person, right? Though I've been in the analytics space, I've not really been writing code or whatever. So just this whole thing of ability to analyze stuff and all that, getting Python code on the fly, as long as you know what you want, that itself has been very exciting, right? One of the things that when I was in Landmark, when we launched a lot of this stuff, the whole program, we launched something called Buddy, which was customers could come into a store, scan, and then we used to make personalized recommendations and all that. But the recommendation those days were also limited to personalizing a name, personalizing an offer, personalizing the type of product you want to recommend, and then maybe the images of those products, right? And I always used to think how cool it would be that, you know, I sent some, let's say, 5 or 6 product recommendations to Saurabh, and Saurabh could say, how would I look on this, right? And there were things like Smart Mirror and all that, but they were expensive, right? Very high on cost. How do you do it? Till very recently, I heard of this thing called Nano Banana. So I keep thinking about it. And what was exciting about Nano Banana is I just told them saying that, hey, look, I want to do this, which is, I want to, based on my recommendation engine, say what is it that Saurabh is likely to buy. I want to send it to him, and I want to give a link where he can just upload his photo and it will show him how he looks on that, right? And you know what? It took me around maybe half an hour. So I was just prompting it, and it built that whole thing. And that's what I put in one of my LinkedIn articles with the video, where I picked some 6 dresses and then I loaded it. So obviously there's a privacy thing where you don't want to do it. But when you give it in the consumer's hand and say, hey, if you want, you can upload your photo and see how it looks on you. That I thought, so earlier I used to think how wow it would be to say personalize images of people, or for them to see how it looks, right? And then make a choice. So something which would have taken years of coding, today as a novice you are able to do it in not in a couple of hours, possibly less than 30-40 minutes, right? And then with Agentic AI and all that, where you have enough in coaching available to even go and deploy it.
Yes.
So what I built was something I built as a link, right? And that link can be deployed, and under 2 hours you can build something like this and deploy it, right? So So the ability to experiment, right? So earlier if you do something like this, the tech team would come and give you a month-long time period and costs and all that. Today you can experiment with agentic AI and all this stuff. You can experiment very quickly, figure out what is working, and then take a call.
Yeah.
Right?
So in fact, Nano Banana, I was also trying, and for one of the podcast shoot, I went and took the picture out there, and they were saying ki what color T-shirt will work well. So then I said, okay, act like a stylist, personal stylist, blah, blah, blah. It suggests me T-shirts. And then it said, okay, this is the thing, this is the shoes you should wear. And I said, okay, now let's change the color of the T-shirts and let's try and looking at it. So it was very good. And in fact, I'm not sure if you have seen that Google is integrating this in the Google shopping part where you can just upload a picture and across everything. So the brands also don't have to do it. Google shopping will do it.
Correct.
So this is
so it's getting Andrew Ng, you have heard of Andrew Ng, right? So he made the statement saying that in the new world, earlier when you were launching something new as a business or an initiative, you were always wanting the agile way of working where you would experiment something and do it, right? Today with this whole agentic AI and agentic AI loosely, but overall the overall AI stuff and the way things are moving, you can actually have a business idea where you need some tech support. Possibly you can build it on your own in 5, 10 days, 15 days and iterate that much more faster. So you were saying earlier if it was 3 months to do your POC, now it should take you maybe a week to do a POC.
3 hours also.
Yeah, maybe 3 hours also, correct.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So coming to the last section of it where we take some recommendations from you. So dumb scrolling, do you do?
Yeah, I do dumb scrolling. So I'll tell you a very interesting thing. I came across this brand called Sweet Karam Coffee.
Acha, nice.
Okay. So sweet is sweet, Karam is a very Tamil word for savories. Savories.
No. Okay.
Right? Karam is tikha.
Acha,
right?
Okay.
So it is Sweet Karam Coffee. Right? In the Tamil household, right? Sweet Karam Coffee is very intuitively understood. Right? So when we were a child, I used to go during my summer vacations and all that to Madurai, where my grandparents used to live. So all of us cousins used to be there. My grandmother used to get this. So 4 o'clock in the afternoon will be a Sweet Karam coffee. Sweet Karam is what? You'll have a Mysore pak or whatever. You'll have some mixture or some pakoda that she's made and some coffee. Right? This is Sweet Karam coffee is a very well-known thing, right? So I was just going through this and suddenly I heard this name Sweet Karam coffee. And so suddenly it brought a flood of memories. As in, so the brand name just intuitively connected with me. Okay. So now what happened is I ordered. Right? I said, chalo, dekhte hain kya hai karke. So it came, nice packaging and all that. In fact, it was expensive compared to others. Right? So the same Haldirams, it is almost twice as costlier, but the packaging was very nice. And then in fact, when I ordered, they came back saying there is Krishna Janmashtami. So we have this, again, they're very South Indian things. There are, you may not heard of names called Chidai and all that. These are very, very South Indian Tamil names, right? So they said this is all available and I ordered the package, right? And so along with that, a letter came and, it had this thing, a letter from a party. Party is a grandmother, right? And she was like generally saying that to a grandson, she's saying that I know you are, I saw your last letter, you are having some challenges in your work, but life is about sustenance, So it was, so when I read that, I'm almost getting emotional when I say that. It reminded me of the way I used to write letters when I was into my first job and all that.
Wow.
So that is an emotional connect, right? So dumb scrolling brand, अभी ऐसा हो गया मेरे घर में I don't care about the cost at all. यार मैं बोल रहा हूँ इसके लिए हल्दीराम्स में 100 रुपए का मिक्सर खरीदूँ या स्वीट कारम में 200 का खरीदूँ. I just like the brand.
So you get the letter every time?
नहीं वो एक बार आया था वो letter. I didn't see that after that.
Okay,
but that connect happened, right? No, in their thing and all that, in their website also they take party stories and all that.
I've seen that ad. Okay.
Party stories.
So it's very interesting.
So it's perchance. I didn't want to talk of apparel brand or whatever. This was something that,
really touched your heart.
Really touched my heart. Really touched my heart. Their packaging is very nice. The product quality is good. They are costly, but it caters to a particular specific community. Right? As long as somebody comes...
Creating experiences comes at a cost. It's not easy.
Correct.
You cannot give a Taj voucher when you're just like 2% or 1% of this. I'll share one example. I like collar T-shirts, okay, Polo T-shirts a lot, and I keep experimenting. And I'm bored with all the traditional brands. So one of the podcasts I heard about this brand called Senses. Okay, and this is the same thing I'm wearing right now, and it was an expensive brand. Okay, it was like about, I guess, 2,000 rupees or something T-shirt, and it talked about the fit and all, and the podcaster was like all praises about it. I said, "ठीक है, चलो try कर लेते हैं." And I started looking at it, and many times it was like out of stock. Lot of things out of stock, and then I took the liberty. I messaged. I kind of added to cart. Then I got the message from founder as the cart abandoned. I said, "यही होगा." I said, "Okay, let's talk." And then he spoke to me. He said, "Okay, send me." So I was confused with what size do I take. Like, should I take medium or large? And it also is the season when I'm little blown up or not. So he said, "Send me your pictures." And then he said, "नहीं नहीं, आप ये वाला size लो, and then it'll be good. I'm recommending you these 2 colors for you will be great." He was the AI engine for me, and I bought 2 T-shirts. I loved it. Then I ordered 4. Then I also liked it. I asked him कि यार थोड़ा extra discount. He said, नहीं नहीं, हमारा stock मिल जाए, यही बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है. And I've been a big fan. This trip in Bangalore, I'm carrying 4 Senses T-shirts. So, and honestly, great loyalty does not come with loyalty program.
Correct. No. So I'll give you one more example. It's not me, my wife. There is this brand called Aramya.
Achha.
Right. It's a startup D2C brand. So she was looking for extra sizes, extra large sizes type of stuff. And she was scrolling, she ordered one. And what they've done is, every time she buys, every month they send her saying that based on what you have bought, our next drop is these designs. You tell us what designs do you think you like out of them, which you think are connecting with you, right?
Achha.
So it's almost like a rating she gives, like 1 to 10 on a scale of 10. Right?
Where does she give? Like a survey form comes in?
Yeah, it comes like a web page only.
Achha.
Email po ya WhatsApp pe link karo, so you can essentially do this rating, right? And she gives it. And then what happens is, every 2 months or whatever, when they launch it, at the end of the 1 month or whatever, they send her a thing. So while she keeps buying, they come back and say that, look, out of the product that you picked, right, the top 3 that you picked, one of them is actually a hero product, which was actually 10% off. So you have great choice and all that. So here is a
coupon or something.
Coupon, or in some cases they actually send one dress.
Achha.
Yeah, this is from our side for your taking time to tell us, and we essentially value your judgment. So my wife has got a connect. Yaar, main to ustad hu. What I'm selling is selling for them, and they do it very smartly. They don't give it every time.
Achha.
So every month she also religiously responds to them, and they also every 2-3 months, while they give the coupons, they give this thing, right? And with something like 20% of sale this time was in this particular style or something like that.
Achha.
So
they
she
keep giving business insights, and then they drive loyalty, and then they use them back as a.
Now I see that my wife typically buys maybe 1 or 2 dresses a month or whatever, and they are at a cost range of around 1,200, not very expensive, right? So she buys. So in the last 8-9 months, I haven't seen her buying anything else apart from Aramya. Right?
She has got hooked. Huh?
So to me, it is from outside, it's a very different perspective, right? So now, whether you call it loyalty program or whatever, that whole construct is what is working.
So that's getting loyalty. You don't need a program on it. So it's a design which really matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So last question, before we close, one of the things which we ask our guest is to share a personal book or something which they have recently read or they are passionate, which we will give to our upcoming guests.
So I'll tell you a book I love.
Sure,
recently read or not.
So love is the most.
One book which I really like, which was very insightful, was a book called Digital Darwinism.
Achha.
So this
What is interesting
written
about
by
it?
Tom Goodwin, and what he's saying is the rate of digital adoption and change is so fast, right? If you're stationary, you're going to be
extinct.
Yeah, you're going to be extinct, right? So he talks of some 3 or 4 models. So one of the first model is self-cannibalization. How do you do?
Achha, how do you reinvent yourself?
Reinvent, right? So self-disrupt. Actually, self-disrupt is the word he uses. At some point in time, you have to think of, do I need to do self-disrupting to stay relevant, right? And couple of examples is Netflix moving from DVD to streaming, right? So the DVD business is doing very well, and streaming took some time, but they realized that I have to do this, right? Satya Nadella moving from an on-prem thing to a cloud thing because it's
Adobe also
self-cannibalized a
same
lot,
story,
right?
Mm.
So he
AI
talks of
based.
that as one model, right? Then the other model he talks of is what he calls as paradigm shifts, right?
Acha.
Which is about the marketplace model where Uber and Airbnb and all that came and disrupted the whole thing, right? Then he talks of incremental thing where you're constantly taking one particular thing and always improving it. So Amazon is a frictionless experience.
Yeah,
Everything I do will be about frictionless, right?
Yeah, incremental improvement.
So and he says that is a constant that you have to look at. If you're not looking at it, the pace of change at digital that is happening, if you're not willing to experiment and be on that particular thing, you'll be extinct very quickly. Right?
Amazing.
So very, very nicely articulated book. From business perspective, that's something that I really like. The other book, which is almost a, in some sense you could say it's about personal habits, but it's also, you can take habit loop form out of it for saying how you want to do loyalty, is a book called Atomic Habits.
Yes.
I don't know if you've read that.
Yeah.
A guy called James Clear. So very nice. He talks of, how do you really do you give a cue, right? It's time for your coffee latte in the morning type of stuff. And how would it sound if you had a whatever,
small rewards and this you do
a type of sprinkle of whatever Cadbury on that, you create a craving for that. And then when you respond to that particular thing, then it says, okay, here is whatever, $100 or whatever. Or if somebody is, and this is from a loyalty perspective or not loyalty, but a customer engagement perspective, I'm saying, but you could create it as a habit loop, right?
So that you keep engaging with the brand, it need not be transactions.
Correct. So it could be for your son, daughter, whoever, where you want them to do a certain thing. How do you actually put it in place that this is happening and there's a habit loop that is getting formed? I mean, habit loop, he talks of it more from a personal benefit perspective, but I think there's a lot of parallel in terms of trying to create the habit loop in
the loyalty world. So Maha, this is one book which I have found very passionate about. It's called High Output Management. Have you heard about OKRs?
Yes, I have heard of OKRs.
Yeah, so this is a book which
Andy Grove of Intel.
So Andy Grove was the CEO of Intel, and late in 60s he created OKRs. So OKRs is just one chapter out of this book. Okay, and it talks about how should really you manage a company. It talks even like how to hire, how to fire. It talks about there's a concept of breakfast factory. This is one book I have gifted almost like 15-20 times.
Nice.
And I love it. It's a coffee table book for me. You read it once and each chapter gives you a great lesson. If you are in a problem, go open it, especially in the context, and it's great for a manager to a CEO.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's very relevant.
I'll definitely read. So I've read his first book.
Achha.
So one of his first books was Only the Paranoid Survive.
Yes.
Which is actually very relevant even today.
Yes.
Right? So he speaks of the early days of Intel and how Only the Paranoid Survive. But I had not read this book, so I'll definitely read it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Maha, for coming on to this podcast, Dilse Omni, and really, I think so. I loved the passionate conversation. We lost track on time. I'm not sure how much time did we record, but it is amazing to have you. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity, Saurabh, and my pleasure.
Thanks. Thank you for watching this episode and hope you have enjoyed and learned with us together. I am enjoying and learning very much. We come up with a new episode every fortnight and would love to share it with you. For this, would request you to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified. Also share your valuable comments below, where we will make sure we will answer and reply to each of the comments. We also have a newsletter which will we share all the omni-channel learnings and playbooks which we are discussing with you as a one emailer per week. So thank you very much for watching and looking forward to your feedback.